Our thanks knows no bound as you join us this beautiful Saturday morning for another edition of Hotsports. Thank you so very much. My name is Babajide Guerrero, and it's been a tremendous week of sports, especially knowing fully well that the NFF elections was in this week, as well as the mother of all football tournaments, the UEFA Champions League.
If you know fit go internet or follow for Twitter, you know fit snap photo send or get it photo send. Now because you dey use Palasa, your phone no dey answer. See me see wahala. My brother, go get smartphone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no go for your hand, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no fit take selfie. Drop that Palasa phone. No be correct phone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone.
My people, no let Palasa phone fall your hand this year. Kia go buy 3G or 4G smartphone, or bring that your phone con join MTN, and then go summer you with 100% awoof data bam on top every data bundle way you buy for the next 3 months. So drop that Palasa now, change your levels so that you go fit enjoy fast internet on the network we get data for everywhere for we country Nigeria. This offer day open to new and old MTN customers.
The guys are very much in the studios, and I'm keeping a solid team, still a very much closely knitted team, like I used to. Makes a return to the show. What's going on?
Good morning, Babajide. Good morning, our viewers. How's everything?
Very well. Unfortunately, you're not wearing native today. I decided to look like you. Unfortunately, you don't choose to look like me.
Today's Saturday. Maybe I have groomsmen duty.
Oh, groomsmen duty today. Okay, not Uwambe. All right. Okay, so what's going on, man? Lale.
Great to be here. A fantastic Saturday morning, as always. A lot happened over the course of the week.
Absolutely.
We're here to dissect all of that. Great to be here.
Especially the UEFA Champions League and the NFF elections, and quite a lot of good news that came through the world of sports. So it's best you stick around because we got big fishes to fry right after this break. You're welcome back to the show, and this particular segment is brought to you by MTN. And right now we want to go straight into the thick of things, the debate segment of the show. During the course of the week before the NFF elections, Amaju Pinnick was in the studios, and we'll play a video of Amaju Pinnick saying something that is very germane to this particular conversation.
I just believe as a team we have a vision. And the vision is premised on youth development, self-reliant in terms of sponsorship, in terms of self-funding, and of course, sustaining the culture of football, and that's basically what we've done. Our vision is clear on what to do. We need to take football out of government in terms of funding. Government superintends our activities, but funding is an integral area, where we want to determine our fate. And that's an area that we believe can right so many wrongs and can take us to the promised land. For example, at the moment we are 65% home in terms of self-funding. If within the next 2 years, I believe we'll be 100%. And look at our youth development program. So kudos always to Sheikh Akumi, my first vice president. Look at the team now. This is the youngest and Golden Eagles team I've seen ever. I was with them in Niger, young enterprising team. 6 of those players came from our ranks, from our Zenith Bank Next Eagles Challenge. So that is a dream, So they metamorphose into the under-17 to under-21, and next the Super Eagles and the Olympics team. So that is a dream. Why you create that vision of youth development and a symbiotic and systemic climb to the next stage, You also look at self-funding. You also look at proper administration. We have not gotten to where we want to get to because we still need to develop. We still need to help the league management in terms of developing the league. We still have to do a lot in terms of officiating. We need to get that league. But people should understand that there's a difference between now and 20 years ago. So when I see people make comparison between now and Shooting Stars and Abiola Babes, I just laugh. The simple reason that there was no TV. Now there's TV, there's Premier League, there's La Liga. There are all those, so people possibly want to stay at home to watch those matches. So we have to look for a balance. When they are playing the league, and we're also trying to create things that will make people go to the stadium, making every stadium a destination, developing the infrastructure. So it's not just going for games. If you are taking your kids can be in a nursery, your wife can be in a salon, you are going to watch football. There can be a food court, It's a long-term dream, but we have it.
And then that's the word right there. That's what we want to hammer on in today's conversation with the gentleman in the studio. In the words of Amaju Pinnick, they are almost, his administration is almost financially independent, of course, from the government issues and, of course, everything that meddle into government. They just want to stand alone in terms of finance. So the question we're asking this morning is simple. Should government hands off funding of Nigerian football? That's the question. Is it viable? Is it doable? Can the NFF be independent? Can they be financially independent? That's the top $1 billion, rather $1 billion naira question we're asking this morning. So that's the topic we'll be looking at this beautiful Saturday morning. And of course, the gentlemen are firing all cylinders. If you want to be part of this conversation, quite easy, yeah? Just send us a text message on the number on your screen, and do also follow us on social media at Hotspot NG across board, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And of course, log on to our website on www.hotsporttv.com. We'll go for a quick break. When we return, the gentlemen are on standby for their thesis statement. Welcome back to the show, and it's time to just dive right into it. And the thesis statement of Olaleye will come in handy right now.
It's quite possible. Maju Pinnick, the re-elected NFF president, has said that he wants independence for the body, which is very, very good in the right direction. Let's not forget, I think a lot of sport efforts in this country have actually, led themselves to always feeding from the government, when in themselves, when they're looking what they could actually try and sort for fund. Football in this part of the world is a big business, so people need to brainstorm, they need to think and look inward, and I think it's the right step in the right direction.
You don't think it's the right step in the right direction?
No, I don't think it's the right step in the right direction, because it's not possible, it's not visible, and it's not happening. So I think the way we are set out, government is meant to fund your sports over this part of the world.
And you're welcome back to the show. The gentlemen have laid down the gauntlet. They've mentioned their thesis statement, and it's right now for us to just go right into it. Let me start with Leye. What do you think?
The government should really answer football, because football, like you see, is the opium of the society. It was one of the biggest brands when it comes to Nigeria. A lot of people do invest in football, and I think football has actually generated so much. The NFF actually needs to look inward. Why? Because if they actually wait for the government to release funds through the sport ministry, and of course there will be a major competition to be played, it will actually slow down the process of preparation. And like they say, when you have a poor preparation, eventually you have poor results. So if the NFF as a body, through the global brand of the Super Eagles or other national teams, could be able to try and win investors, why not? They in that way will be able to be autonomous in terms of financial ability.
But we keep saying this thing. Let me comment. Now today I want to actually let people understand, because I think we've been arguing so much and we've not really passed our points over to the people. Now the thing about funding football by government, especially in Africa, it's not just Africa, they do it in other developed countries. But you see one thing, countries that can self-fund themselves in their organizations are mostly developed countries. You see, a country like America can afford to do that, because why? Your TV rights, not be your TV rights, your fans, because you see as much as 80,000 fans go and pay at least $10 to watch a match. Now, if you calculate 80,000 times $10, that's money that you're going to use to fund your sport. But in Nigeria, people don't pay to go and watch them. Now, let me give you an example.
Why?
Let me give you an example why we can't even fund ourselves.
Depending on
No,
government.
it's because it's not because of
Because government you've depended on government,
people have even when you've depended on government. Okay, now this is another point. You say you depend on government. When you depend on government, people have mismanaged the money provided by government. Now that you won't have government inside, one man can actually take. Okay, now who checks
this? Going for a major competition and I have to wait for the government.
You need your government. You need your government to sponsor your sport.
I can actually look inward and get funds. Why can't I
you what? Let me ask you a question. Do you think if I sponsor you, do you think I'm sponsoring because I want to dash money?
No, because I have all the things.
So what are you giving me in return? If I sponsor you,
I'll give you laurels.
What are you giving me?
I'll give you laurels. I'll give you results.
Is it laurels that's going to pay me my bills?
Why not? Because when I give you laurels, I get more recognition. I also share.
How do you get more recognition?
Now,
so gentlemen,
I'm ABC Computers now. I sponsor 5 billion into the NFF team.
Okay.
Now they win the competition. How much are they being paid? How do I get my 5 billion?
Go global. Why?
Global how?
Excuse me.
People are going to now buy.
Why not? Because you
people are going to buy a
brand. See, so the NFF is
how does the England? How does the English FA operate?
We are talking about the NFF.
We're talking about no. You know why we hold on about this? We're talking about how government is going to fund.
I am not talking about government. I am talking
you are talking about how. What I'm telling you now, this cannot even be possible. No, let me give you an example.
I'll hear your example. Wait. Okay, so we've gotten to that part of the show where it's all about rounding off from the topic, and let's just go to other germane issues as we got Hotspot this morning. So, your final thoughts?
My final thoughts.
Yes, please.
I really don't have final thoughts about this statement. Okay. And I'm still always going to say it every time. We need to look at this. Now, it's talking about government no funding. Look at the countries that go to Olympic, the countries that win more medals, the countries that win the World Cup. First of all, these are developed countries outside football. These are countries that their economy works. These are countries that have good human development platforms.
His final thoughts.
Let me tell now this you see I'm shooting myself in the foot. Yes. Now what we are going to talk about here, what you are going to talk because their country is developed. That's my point. I'm saying this is not a football. This is not just a football aspect. That's what I'm saying. This goes away from football. This goes away from football. Forget I'm talking sport. Yeah, this is an economical talk too.
Yeah.
This goes away from football. You don't have to tell me that somebody wants to self-sponsor itself then why your country isn't doing well outside football. Football is not your country. You have your military, you have other people outside that.
Thank you very much,
The NFF as a body is a brand. The Super Eagles is a brand. The Super Falcons is a brand. If they can sell the brand and get people to bring in money beforehand, before government funding comes, why not? Because at the end of the day, if they eventually get not to do well, sponsors wouldn't be happy, and even government wouldn't be happy as well.
Sponsors will spend money on people that are not coming to stadium. That's the thing you need to know.
About stadium.
You can see that the gentleman just continued talking. I'll probably just take this conversation into the break. So we'll go for a quick break. When we return, Hotsports continues.
MTN gives 2,000% bonus for reactivating your MTN SIM.
That's right. If you haven't used your MTN SIM for 45 days or more, recharge now and get 2,000% bonus. That's right, 2,000% bonus for your first recharge of every month.
Anthony Joshua may have defended his world heavyweight boxing title on few occasions in the past and won, but not since he dethroned former champion Vladimir Klitschko to become boxing's numero uno in April 2017. He has faced the kind of opposition he will be facing when he lines up against fearless Russian hitman Alexander Povetkin at the Wembley Stadium on Saturday. Joshua, who had initially been working on a big money showdown with WBC champion Deontay Wilder in a bid to unify all divisions of the heavyweight into one undisputed umbrella, had been halted in his tracks when he was forced into a mandatory title defense against Povetkin by the boxing's controlling body. But fight pundits do not see Joshua's later title defense against Povetkin as a routine one in the mode of Carlos Takam, Dillian White, or Joshua Parker, for instance. They see the possibility of an upset considering the huge pedigree of the Russian, who was not only an Olympic gold medalist, but a one-time WBA heavyweight champion who reigned between 2011 and 2013. Added to his awesome credentials is the fact that Povetkin has only once lost a fight in 35 professional bouts, and that was against the then champion Vladimir Klitschko in 2015. The remaining 34 he has won, 24 of them ended in knockouts. the fact that he packs a lot of power into his punches, the liver weight he eats with a very potent left hand and possesses a strong chin that can absorb punches, makes him the biggest threat to Joshua's short reign as heavyweight boxing's poster boy. Joshua, who also won gold in the heavyweight class at the London 2012 Olympics, 8 years after his Russian opponent did at Athens 2004, will however rely on his long reach, quick counters and famed ability to evade deadly punches to survive his opponent. Joshua is also expected to leverage on his exuberance as a younger man at 28 to overcome his opponent, who is 10 years older. Well, beyond age or the level of preparedness is the often less noticed issue of officiating and the element of luck that could come into play as a huge decider of this fight.
All right, moving on, we'll talk about the Nigeria now 48th in the world ranking and 5th in Africa. Guys, do you really believe in this FIFA ranking?
Well, it's always elastic to a major competition. If you have a good ranking, you'll be seeded, and I think in a way it's really good that Super Eagles are gradually climbing up. Aftermath of the FIFA World Cup, played against Seychelles and maybe the exhibition game against Liberia, and I think it's a good one. They climbed 48th in the world, 5th in Africa. And as we look forward to double header against Libya, you expect that maybe the team come next FIFA ranking will do well. Maybe when you get good results, and of course climb up the ladder in the FIFA and of course CAF rankings.
Do you know, some years back, I actually did my best to see how the coefficients and the points and the fractions and the points of how the FIFA ranking is done. And I tell you what, it's a very, very cumbersome, hard to understand kind of thing. You have to add some points to some -3, -1. Trust me, you don't want to go into that math. But one thing we want to go into is the UEFA Champions League. The mother of all football tournaments came in during the course of the week, and I'm sure you enjoyed yourself with that football fiesta. You know,
yeah, it's good.
Which of the games was your pick of your pack?
The Man City
Sports?
Olympic Lyon. Actually.
Okay, the City
because that
Lyon.
was the shocker. That was the shocker. You
Was
know,
it
a lot of
really a
people didn't pay
shocker?
attention to.
Okay,
What
true.
we're talking about,
True,
Man City,
true. It
champions
was a
of
shocker.
England.
It was a shocker.
And we know when the first goal and the second goal came in for Lyon, we were like, oh, okay, maybe something is happening here. But you know, we never could have said it. But then Inter Sports 2 was a very, very amazing game.
Liverpool PSG.
Yeah, that was a game. But talking about Liverpool PSG, what's happening to Neymar? I think he that move to PSG financially good for him, but football wise, Neymar is really depreciating as a footballer. You know, it's really that's why I didn't want to talk about that match, because I really did enjoy that match. On paper, it's a very good match, but when we watched it, we didn't really get that fire that we expected. But it was a very good group game.
The fire was more from Liverpool than PSG,
yeah,
obviously.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a very good group game.
He saw red, Cristiano Ronaldo. He should be getting goals for Juventus in his first game in the Champions League against Valencia. But let's talk about the game as a whole, and then we'll talk about that red card. Was that a red card?
Well, actually, it wasn't a red card, but of course, referees make a decision in split seconds, and of course, he actually had to also seek, consent from the other referees before he gave the red card. But for me, it wasn't a good debut of, course, Cristiano Ronaldo for Juventus. But of course, they won. But I just hope he did be able to, get back as soon as possible, because eventually there might be a return for him to Old Trafford if his card is either rescinded or is actually given maybe some few games off as regards a red card.
But we also, we are still seeing that on that particular screen, exactly how that red card scenario occurred. Is quite unbelievable. I mean, I think the players were just trying to make a meal out of it, trying to rile him up and all.
You know, people have different opinions about the whole thing, because first of all, because Ronaldo, yeah, nothing really happened like what people said. But when you look at that over the replay, then you might see that there will be contact, and then people just said, "Oh, Ronaldo just touched his head." But if Ronaldo had touched the guy's hair like that, and the guy had hit him, Ronaldo, that was a red card for the guy. Yeah. So it's like you don't provoke another player. So it's a very, very
it's a dicey
situation there for both parties. But because the statement I even find funny was Allegri saying if they had VAR that they would have called back the same. But this was the same Allegri last year after Juve played Atlanta, said VAR is killing football. He doesn't want VAR in football. Now it has happened to his team. Is that saying
it's crying foul?
We need VAR. Kind of like Allegri. Are you? When you know the one that was just saying you didn't want VAR. In the
well, the good or the bad thing for people apostles of VAR is that VAR will come into the Champions League. I think in the second round. I think in the quarterfinals thereabout, and then we'd see VAR in full flight in the UEFA Champions League. Of course, the UEFA Europa League as well was on display during the course of the week. We saw Arsenal win win 4-2, and Villarreal in a 2-2 draw against Rangers. That's Steven Gerrard making his bow as a coach at that particular level. But that's where we're going to hang it there in the Europa League. But moving on, guys, the Tigers would, of course, take their bow in the FIBA Basketball World Cup happening in Spain today. Of course, it will end on September 30th, playing against Argentina, Australia, and Turkey in Group B. Remember that Senegal are also the other African team in that particular World Cup. Chances for the Tigers, we've said this before, but we should say it again. We should be hopeful. This group is not so difficult aside Argentina, maybe,
absolutely,
and Australia.
Absolutely. They're playing against the Turkish, who are also a very good team, the Turkish female basketball team. But of course, for the D Tigers, knowing full that they actually won the African tournament last time out in Mali. You'd expect that they've gotten a lot of wonderful, basketball players that actually play their trade in the US, and of course, coming together as a team, you expect that they will do well in the group that has Argentina, Australia, as well as Turkey. So hopefully, we wish the ladies the very best, because they actually had a few company here in Lagos, and of course you could see the spirit in camp while they were training, and of course they were hopeful that they would do Nigeria proud come when they go to Spain.
Well, that's the hope, that's the aspiration we're having for the team. So our thoughts and of course our wishes are with the Tigers. So go girls, go do the nation proud. Well, it's done Nigeria and England proud. Over the years we are even confused if he's a Nigerian, if he's an English boy. We hear Nigerian, English, Nigerian. Anthony Joshua was this Saturday take against, because we don't even know. They say it's from Shagamu, but the good thing is that, hey, all the countries involved are happy. Moving on, I don't want you.
You don't want to talk.
I don't want you to talk.
I think we need to address this issue someday.
No, maybe someday.
We need to address, because all this Nigeria, UK.
Just let that slide.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll let it slide.
It's going to be fighting Povetkin, of course, this Saturday. What's your thoughts about this one?
Well, like you said, we're arguing about the nationality, but what we can't argue about is that Joshua is actually a fantastic boxer, and Joshua is actually going to root for Joshua, though. I don't know. I just have to do that. It's not that Povetkin is just a bad boxer, but I think Joshua will do well. Will do very well.
He's your brother. He's your Nigerian, yeah? All right, guys. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone for joining us on this show today. It's been a phenomenal Saturday. But we go for a final break. When we return, we'll have the final whistle, and then we call it a wrap on the show today. And you're welcome back to Hotsports. This is where we draw the curtain on the show, but not until I give my final whistle. Well, the gentlemen have done a fantastic job sharing whether or not they believe in the NFF financial independence, whether or not NFF can stand alone aside having government to meddle into their finance. So here's my thoughts. I think strongly that football, like Leia said, is a huge brand, and if properly managed, if properly done, it can actually survive alone as a solitary sovereign state that football is. Football on its own is an economy. Some nations over the years have grown, some nations, I beg your pardon, have grown very, very specially from football. It has added a lot to the nation's GDP over the years, and if at all is managed quite well, Nigeria can be in that committee of nations that have enjoyed quite well from football. So yes, I stick my neck out for Leia today, saying that
back-to-back week.
Yes, back-to-back week, that NFF can indeed, that NFF can really be self-sufficient as regards finance. All right, that's where the curtain falls on today's edition of Hotsports. We want to thank you so very much. Before we call it time on the show today, I want to thank my guys in the studio. Thank you very much, Leia. Always a pleasure.
Good to be on the show.
I see you smiling because today the pendulum swung to your side. You can see Leia smile. Look at that for a smile. And you know you're frowning. Why?
I'm not frowning. You guys supported because I'm on suit. So the main man today now. So
you just have to play the victim. Guys, thank you so very much for joining us. We'll see you again next week Saturday. Remember, you can get to follow us and like and mention us on social media. Come on, feel free. Let's have a conversation at Hotspot NG across board, and of course at www.hotsporttv.com. Till I come your way again next week Saturday. Remember, God bless you, God bless Nigeria. Look after yourselves and each other. Babajide Guerrero signing out.